And so they have another meeting. And the meeting is like this, and they say, here's plan C. We're going to build a website. We're going to get lots of people coming to it. But we're going to have this thing called conversions, and we're going to work on conversions, which is part of design. And it's going to help some of these people that come to my website buy our stuff. And then suddenly they're happy. But what typically happens is they start with plan A, and then they move to plan B, and they're unhappy. And you're building the website, so it must be your fault, right? That they're not making any money. Right? But they're not getting any traffic. You have to have two things to make money online. You have to have lots of traffic, and you have to get that traffic to do what you want them to do. If they don't buy your stuff, it doesn't matter how many hits you get to your website. In fact, it costs you money to get traffic, especially if you're paying for it from Google and with their AdWords. Plan C is better. This is something you need to drive home to your clients. It is better to plan for the traffic and the SEO and the conversions part of things, which designers are really good at the beginning of the project, not wait until they're frustrated. So when you design your site, you are actually designing for two audiences. Because if you want to get lots of traffic to your site, where do you go? What is SEO designed to do? Why do we SEO websites?
To be able to modify what to be found.
To be found, exactly. That was a perfect answer. To be found. You SEO your website so that you move up to the top of the search engines, so more people see your website and click on it and come to your site, right? So you need to design your website so that Google thinks you should be at the top of their search results. But then you also have this other audience over here, so people that come in, and so you've also got to design for those people to do what you want them to do. So Google, the Google as we call it, and then you have your customer that you want them to buy stuff. Google loves text. They go in, they sit there spotting around, they slurp down all that text, they parse it out, they break it all up, they put it in an index, and then they feed it back out to people who come to their website. They love text. They also like keywords, because keywords help them decide what your site is all about. So if you put keywords in the right place on your site, in that text, then Google's like, oh, this is great, we love it. And they also like links. So links that are on your site, pointing to other parts of your site, and links coming from other places pointing to your site, Google loves them because it shows them how popular you are and what pages of your site you think are important and how connected everything is. Google loves links. And your customer, what do they love? What does your visitor love? Do they like to see big pages of text? Not particularly. Some do. I mean, they want to read and get all that detail. They like to know that the text is there, but they really want to see something pretty, something that makes them happy when they come to the site, right? And they also, they really don't care that you have a website. What they're really there is WIIFM. Everybody heard of that radio station before? WIIFM, what's in it for me? Okay, that's why they're there. They can care less about your site or how much content you have. Google does, customers don't care. What's in it for me? What are you doing for me? Why am I here? Why am I going to spend more time here? And then they also want you to tell them what to do. They want you to tell them, click here, call this number, add this thing to your cart and check out. That's what your visitors to your website want. So you have these two opposite groups that you're building and designing your website for. So let's take a look here at at a website. This is just chosen completely at random from all the websites that are on the internet today. And happens to be my website. It was really weird when that happened, but we're going to talk about my website today. And we have these two little guys up in the left-hand corner there, Google, and we're going to give Google the blue arrow, and we're going to give your end user, the customer who's going to buy from your client's website, we're going to give them the green arrow, because that means money, right? Green is money. Okay. So Google, they like, oh, well, now I'm also going to give you the top of the website as well, because there's some important bits up there. All right, so Google likes the title tag. Everybody know what a title tag is? Title tag is that piece of text way up there at the very top. It's when you go to the search engine and you do a search, it's often what appears there. Google loves the title tag. I've heard it said that the top tag is 70% of on-page SEO is the title tag. I think it's less. I think it's probably 40 or 50%. But still, it's a single one element that is critical to your on-page SEO. Google loves that title tag. They also like the URL. So not just the base URL, like what's to the left of the .com, they also like the path, everything that comes after the slash. They pay attention to the words in there because that gives them a lot of detail about what your website's about, okay? They also like the text that shows up in the upper left-hand corner of the site, okay? They consider that highly critical and important text. They also like anything that's in a heading tag. You may know what heading tags are, H1, H2, that kind of good stuff. They love heading tags because if your website is set up hierarchically, it's very easy for them to go and say, oh, H1, that's the main topic. H2, it's a subtopic of H1. Here's and so they break the site down and go, oh, this is a great thing for us because we understand what's going on with this website. And they also, on a secondary level, they like links that are on the page. The links that are on the page kind of tell them, okay, this is kind of associated with these other things. So your site navigation becomes very important. So all these little links on the site, the navigation, things that go to different places, Google considers these things pretty important. They're more concerned with links. They're more concerned about where the link goes. And that link helps the landing page or the link where you end up more than it helps the page that the link is on, but they do consider them all kind of related, especially your site navigation because they're all on the same site, right? Now, your customer, they also like the title tag. Not as much as Google, but it's important because it's what they see when they go to the search engines and it's what they click on to get to your site. So having a title tag that's written well for that person is very important. Also, if somebody bookmarks your site, bookmarking your site is really great because they're going to come back later. That's what the bookmark is going to be called, is what's in the title tag. So it's really important to have good title tags for your users as well. But they like the graphics. They like the logo, the design. It tells them where they are. They like having the phone number up there because it tells them very quickly, hey, if I want to do business with these guys, here's what I do. I call the number. And they also like the marketing messages. They also like the navigation, but they like it for different reasons because it answers that WIIFM. What do I do now? Why am I here? How's it going to help me move forward? And so we have links, an FAQ that will tell them, oh, here's how I found out more detailed information. So the text is there on the site, but it's not, bam, on the front page. And they also, how to contact us, other things. And they also like that big bolded text that's up there. Right? Because it tells them, here's where I am. Here's exactly what I'm doing. Y'all seeing all this? Okay, good. So these are all important elements. And then the guarantee. The customer wants to know, and this is a safe place. There's credibility here. It helps us to helps a customer spend more time on the site. So everybody always wants to know, whenever I give a talk, they always want to know, well, that's all great, Ben, thanks for sharing that with us, but what are the modules? Come on, just tell me the list of the modules so I can install them on my site. So let's talk about a few modules, okay? So the module you need for the title tags is the page title module, okay? And it gives you the ability on every single node, gives you an extra field that you can go in and you can write exactly what you want the page title to be, all right? The path is handled by two different modules. There's the Path Auto and the Path Redirect module. And you really do need to install both of them because when you install the Path Redirect module, it gives you some extra options in the Path Auto that are actually better for SEO. So go ahead and take both of those modules and install them on your site. And then your navigation, that's just a menu system. And I know there have been some complaints about styling and stuff like that, but love it or hate it, it's what we have. And that's a really great place to put your keywords is in the menu system that's built right into it. And then behind the scenes, there's a couple of modules you should know about. It's the Global Redirect module and the Meta Tags module. Okay, so those two modules, they do different things. The Global Redirect, it makes sure that there's not any duplicate content on your site. Have you ever heard of duplicate content? It's this thing, everybody's scared of duplicate content. But basically what it means is if the exact same content is showing up in more than one place on your site, Google doesn't really know which is the most important version of that content. And so, like, for example, if you have, the standard Drupal URLs are like q equals nodes/1 or something like that. But then if you turn on clean URLs, it'll be .com/node/1, so that's like a second URL. And then if you write a clean URL for it using the title or the the path module, then you'll get, you know, slash clean URL or whatever. And so that's your third one. And then if you happen to make that node your front page, you'll actually have that same content on the very front page of your site. So that's like 4 different places that the exact same content could show up, and that's confusing to the search engines. So the global redirect module takes care of all that, and it looks and it says, well, if this is a front page, then hide. If anybody comes to one of these other things, just send them to the front page. If it's not the front page, then send them to the clean URL. If there's no clean URL, send them to the, send them to the nice URL. If there's no nice URL, send them to the clean URL. If there's no clean URL, send them to the main, you know, the query screen kind of thing. So it takes care of all that for you. So it's a great module to install it. You turn it on. There's almost no configuration at all. Works great. Meta tags. Everybody know what meta tags are? I'm seeing some nods. Okay, meta tags are like, the title tag could be considered a meta tag, but in this context it's not. But your description tag, it shows up in the header of your document, your users never see it. However, the search engines grab the description tag, and that's what they put in the search results. So they'll put the title tag first, and then they'll put your meta description tag underneath, and that's what people see when they're deciding whether or not to click on your page and go visit. Okay? So, but as far as the modules, you know, if you have those 5 modules installed, you're going to have a pretty well SEO system. There's certainly probably 15 other ones you can install that are all related somehow to SEO, but if you just get those 5, you're doing pretty well. But there's other parts of the site here that we talked about that are important to Google and to the users that have nothing to do with modules. So if you want to get my page is updated. Is your page updated? There we go. So like the logo. That's a design thing. Somebody has to design a great logo that somebody will really like when they come to your site. And the putting the phone number and the contact information in a good place, that's part of the theme. That's where the designers come in, and they make sure it's styled properly and they put it in the right place. And the marketing message that's in the middle of the page, the graphics that go together to make up the site, that's all designers. Designers do that stuff. And the styling the H1 tag and making it look the right way, actually putting things in the H1 tag, which is one of the mistakes that I see from designers a lot, is that they don't actually use the markup that's in HTML. And that's one thing that designers have to come in here and do. And the styling and the messaging of the site, that often falls in design. Don't get your programmers to write this stuff for you. They're not good at it. But designers, you take ownership of that. You find writers, or you create it yourself, and you have great marketing message on your site. So design is a huge part of online success. Without design, you may have a perfectly functioning site. You may even have lots of people coming to that site, but your clients are not going to make a dime unless you design for ROI in your websites. What I'm trying to say with all this is that designers rule. Come on, both of you. Come on. Right? All right. Thanks. Okay, thank you. Boy, tough crowd. So let's move on from there and talk about a little bit about some more technical stuff. There are some key things that you can do when you're designing a website, and that's to put your keywords first. So keywords are the phrases that people type into Google in order to find companies like yours or like your clients, okay? So say you're a mortgage broker and you want to show up in Austin, Texas, which is where I'm from. And so people would type in Austin mortgage broker and hopefully your site would come up, okay? So take the words Austin mortgage broker and put those in your title tag and put them first in your title tag. So you might say Austin mortgage broker Ben Finklea. I can check with people. And you put that in your title tag. And in the H1 tag, put in mortgage broker. Put your city, Austin mortgage broker, in the H1 tag. Put the keywords that you want to show up in the search engine, put them first on your page. Make it read nice because people need to communicate with your site. But try and get those keywords as close to the beginning of the page, each element on the page as possible. Also, use proper markup. We come across many designers who will they'll put plain text on the page and they'll put div tags around it, and then they'll go to the style sheet and style it to be big and the right color and so it matches in with the site. And Google sees that as just plain text because they, generally speaking, don't read CSS files. The search engines don't crawl them. So what you need to do is the main ideas on the page, you need to go ahead and use the proper markup. H1, H2, H3, all the way up to, what is it, H6, H7, something? It goes way, what is it?
6.
H6? Okay. So it's all the way up to H6. So if you have multiple ideas on the page, use an H1 tag there. And then, of course, you can always style your H1 tags, right? But go ahead and use the elements that are given to you in HTML. Don't work around HTML, work with the HTML, because that's what Google is expecting. And then use keywords in your navigation. So you got your keywords, maybe on the instead of saying home as the top navigational item, you say something like, you know, Ben's Mortgages or something like that. You get the word somehow, bless you get the word into the navigation, and that's going to help a lot with your SEO. So all stuff on page. Yes, ma'am.
Can you be more specific about where that goes? There's like obviously the text that is linkable, and then there's the URL, and
Yes.
then there should be a way to tag that, right? Or like there's some sort of alternative text.
There is alt text and title text
Right.
that goes in different places on the site.
But I don't. Does Drupal handle that automatically? And with the menu system?
In the navigation, no, it doesn't. There's a module called the Menu Attributes module.
Okay.
And the Menu Attributes module gives you, like, I think it's 6 or 7 different things that you can put in there. One of them is it's not an alt tag, it's a title tag. Alt tags are for images, and title tags are for links, okay? But people mix those up, or they just put both on everything just to make sure. But alt tags are for images, and title tags are for links. And it allows you to put, so go get that module.
So is that what you're referring to when you say use keywords in nav? Or?
No, yes, and no. I mean, but yeah, that's not what I meant. What I meant was, you know, the actual clickable text that people see. Google's big on the text that people see. They don't like it when text is hidden. There's some black hat techniques where you use a div that's like placed like way off the right of the page or something so nobody ever sees it, and they put a bunch of keywords in there. And Google figures that stuff out, you're in trouble. Your site comes down. So I'm not talking about, yes, use title tags in your navigation, use that module to do so, but I'm talking about really the visible text is way more important than anything that you can put that's hidden. And I'm actually going to talk about a tool here in a minute that will show you exactly what Google sees when they visit your website. It's pretty cool. And don't hide the keywords. I see this a lot from designers too. You have these great keywords, you have a client, and you build the website. I'm saying you, nobody in this room has ever done this, but I'm sure there are designers that you know that would do things like design the website to be absolutely perfect, it's exactly what you want, you take it into Photoshop and you slice it up and you load up all those images on the site with some HTML behind it to make all the images show up in the right place, and bam, it's a beautiful site that works just like you want it to. Except you've embedded all of the words that you need for Google to see into the graphics, and Google doesn't read graphics. So they go, well, okay, we'll use alt tags. And alt tags are really weak. It's a really weak way to communicate with Google. They discount them because people have used them. So they put the graphic there, and then they put alt tags that are completely unrelated to the graphic just to get more text in the page, and Google hates that. So try as best you can to put as few graphics on the page that's going to get the job done as far as your messaging. If it's text, make it text and style it. Yes, ma'am?
Just the thing with graphics, for important ones that actually could be represented by text, put that text in there and negative indent off to the side. Because you can, if not for all of them, like you don't want to do that because you'll get in trouble, but if you're representing like key thoughts with the graphic, you can do that in a couple, and that's common CSS practice for it.
I'm gonna tell you from an SEO perspective, from a design perspective, that may be okay. I don't know. From an SEO perspective, I wouldn't even touch that with different.
But I mean, think about it for logos. Like if you have your logo and you want to put your logo in there, just to have that image is not the best thing. But if you take your H1 and you're putting your company name in that, but you want to swap that out, I think that's perfectly fine. Because that's what you're doing. It's still the same text.
Okay. I think that you shouldn't put your company name in an H1. Because chances are you're going to show up in the search engines for your company name anyway. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the right thing to do from a design perspective. For me, I want to get those keywords out, put them in somewhere that's much more visible on the page. It's just a much more straightforward way of doing it. But, you know, I'm open to new ideas. And then make it easy to adjust. There's another question. Let me cover this real quick. don't design your site so that it's really hard to come in and make changes to it, because companies change. They change all the time with what they sell and the marketing messaging and the describing those different things. They change all the time. So don't make it so hard to change the site that they're frozen with what they have. Give people an opportunity to use the tools built into Drupal to make the textual changes and add new graphics and stuff to the site. And that will help your SEO tremendously.
When you say keywords, you mean like just the words that you use in the title, H1 and all that, as opposed, I think there's a meta tag called keywords, and also there's a Drupal like tagging system in vocabularies that I consider keywords. That's not exactly what you mean. You're talking about keywords for your site that you implement at H1, H2, right, in title and things like that.
Yeah, when I say keywords, I'm talking about the actual words. I'm not referring to Drupal in any way, shape, or form. I'm actually talking about vocabulary. Well, I can't say that either. Words, search terms, things that people type into Google is what I'm talking about when I say keywords. Now, there is a keywords meta tag, and we do put keywords in the keywords meta tag, but I only do it because if I don't, my customers say, well, how come you didn't put keywords in the keywords meta tag? That's the most basic SEO thing there is. Yeah, it is the most basic SEO thing there is. That's why it doesn't work anymore. 15 years ago that worked. Now that they completely ignore that. But we go ahead and do it because customers want us. We all do things just because customers want us to do them. So that's the only reason we haven't used the keywords meta tag. And then as far as the taxonomies go, I actually love the way that when you have something tagged with multiple taxonomies, underneath the node title it gives you, here's the taxonomies, and you click on it and take you to a list of other nodes that have that same tag. I think it's fantastic for SEO. It's wonderful. It ties your content all together, gives Google a really great idea about what that silo is about. And your taxonomy listings, you might have heard the term silo from an SEO perspective. It basically means here's a section of my site that's all about this one thing. Using views and taxonomies to create silos. It's one of the reasons that Drupal is so phenomenally better than any other platform for SEO. Is there a question here?
I mean, one on what you just said and one going back to it.
Sure.
First, is there any advice for actually getting keywords into the copy? Because you're like given a list of keywords that the client has no intention of actually anyone seeing, but they know the people are looking for it. And sometimes there are good reasons for this and sometimes not. So just, how do you explain that yes, these have to appear in the text, and how do you actually do that? That's really hard.
I have several strategies for doing that. I think the most straightforward is something that's built right into Drupal anyway, and that's to turn on the blog module. And great, you need these keywords somewhere in your site, these really weird, random, seemingly unrelated keywords, but there's a good business reason for them to be there, but it doesn't fit into the copy of your selling pages on your site. Well, then start a corporate blog and write 4 or 5 blog posts about that keyword and create a taxonomy term for it. And then create a nice clean URL for that taxonomy term. And then optimize that list. Maybe create one that's sticky at the top and you take out the title and stuff and you make a nice description of that page, and then here's some links to some stuff that's related to it. And that's a great way to get a...
Is there a reason you're using blank?
Yes.
What is it?
Because I have a booming loud voice.
Okay, but it works.
Should I use it?
I just want to make sure it works.
No.
Was anybody in here yesterday? Or the last session, rather? And was it working?
It wasn't a list.
You don't know?
They can't hear you. You got to talk into the mic. Oh, you got feedback from next door?
Actually, his mic.
Well, I'll keep talking anyway.
It sounds clear as a bell.
We actually thought it was Mike.
What?
We thought you were Mike here.
You thought it was Mike. Nice.
I did too.
Okay. What were we talking about? Sorry.
Getting those keywords.
Getting those
definitely
keywords.
don't want on the front page.
Yeah. So and that's another concept maybe that I just skipped right over, which is you can't optimize the front page of your website for every single search term that you want. You can't do it. 2 terms, maybe 3, if they're related. So Austin Mortgages and Austin Mortgage Broker, close enough. You can get both of those on the front page of your site. Austin Jumbo Mortgages, I'd go ahead and bump that off to another category and start building out some content there. as far as like working it into the actual, so say this is a primary keyword, we gotta work it into the front page of the site, hire a writer, they're really creative and they can help you do that. But don't let them write, SEO speak. If you read it and it sounds like they're, we, at Widget Co, we make the best widgets of any widget maker and all the widget makers of the widget world. It's like, okay, they didn't write that for me, they wrote that for Google. So don't let them do things like that, but you can be creative and work them in, so.
Related question.
Yes, sir.
What advice do you give on either creating multiple vocabularies or hierarchical vocabulary?
If the hierarchies make sense, and you're going to structure your data in a hierarchical way, then it works really well for users because users want to, and we're going to get to actually a little bit of that in a minute.
Definitely, but how about SEO?
Well, if it makes sense hierarchically, can you give me a real world example?
Medical devices.
Okay, medical devices, wheelchairs, makes great sense. Google knows that wheelchairs are medical devices. Medical devices, syringes, that's great.
Drill down,
Yeah.
just keep drilling down into that.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that whatsoever. You're using your breadcrumbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. You've got to get specific in each one of those landing pages. You've got to build the right keywords into that page because it's a subsection of that, but it is really about its own thing.
Right.
You can't have a syringes website and say, oh, this is a medical devices website. Yeah, that's not going to work. But I like hierarchies, and so does Google.
Good. Thanks.
Other questions before I move on? Okay. Design for ease of use. There is a book that's out. It's called Don't Make Me Think. Have any of you seen or read that book? We go, oh, good. All right, about half the crowd has already read the Don't Make Me Think book. So the big idea for this book is it's not the number of times that somebody has to click. It's how much you make them think before they can click. How much do I have to think before I make a decision about what to do on this page? So don't think about so much about, oh, you got to get this, this conversion thing down to 2 or 3 clicks, or they're going to leave. Think about how hard is it for them to do each step of the process. Okay, big idea there, and this is something that you can build into your Drupal designs. This is not necessarily Drupal related. This is just good design best practices. And for SEO, when we're trying to get people to buy, make them, just give them what they want. Make it really, really easy for them to understand what's going on. Use big tags, make big buttons. These are things that you can do. Design with profit in mind. We talked about this a little bit, but I want to talk about a book called Web Design for ROI. How many of you have read Web Design for ROI? Okay, nobody. Nobody's read it. So Web Design for ROI is a book that's specifically written to teach designers how to build websites that make money. How to get people who are on your website to do what you want them to do. It's a fantastic book. Both of these books, they're maybe 150 pages, lots of pictures, big words. This is not a weekend read. This is an hour over lunch. You can probably plow through. Don't Make Me Think. Web Design for ROI might take a long lunch. Okay, these are not hard things, but the concepts are sound. They're really great. Design is an ongoing process. If you think that when you launch a website, you're done designing that website, you are mistaken, and that website's not going to do as well as if you continually, iteratively make adjustments to that site to increase the conversion rate, which means you need to test and measure everything that's going on your site. You need to make sure that you have a good analytics package installed. I recommend Google Analytics. It's free, it's easy, and there's a module. So put Google Analytics on there and then take a look. Set up goals. Take some time to learn to use analytics and set up goals in analytics so you can see when people come in the front page of my site, they tend to go here. When they're on this page, they tend to do this. When they're here, they tend to buy. Okay, and how many people am I losing at each step of the way? And 90% of the people get to here, and then 90% of the ones that are left get to here, but guess what? Only 2% get to here. Where do you have a problem? You have a problem right here, right? On that page where you're losing most of your traffic. So now you have some information that as a designer you can go back in and look at that page and go, where am I losing? What's the problem? Okay? And then you can take that back to your clients. How many of your clients would absolutely love you and give you lots of money if you came to them and said, hey, fix this little thing and we're going to triple your sales? Would that make your clients happy? I think it would. That's something that you can do if you have the right tools installed. Make sure that you have calls to action. You wouldn't believe how many websites I go to and can't find the phone number. I want to call you. I want to do business with you. There was a lawyer that hired us about 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, and he said he just couldn't understand why he was getting so many calls from his phone book and no calls from his website. He had some new traffic. We looked at it, and he had 4 different phone numbers, one for each of the different practices that he did, and it was on a scrolling banner. So it said, you know, bankruptcy, and there was a phone number, and then it went away. And then it said personal injury, and there was a phone number, and it went away. Like, well, yeah. I mean, by the time I get past the 1-800. I'm on to the next number, and I don't want to call that number. So we had him just put it in a static banner, and bam, bam, bam. And guess what? The phone started ringing from his website. You know, so stuff like that. Good calls to action that are not confusing to your buyer. And then do secondary calls to action. Well, I don't want to call. What do I do now? Well, we have an online chat that you can do. Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, I don't want to do the online chat. Well, sign up for our newsletter. Give them options. Give them things that they want to do, and they will do one of. They will pick one, and they will do it. What they're comfortable with, not what you're comfortable with. And then different pages of a website have different objectives. Your homepage purpose is different than a category page, is different than a landing page, is different than a detail page. And so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to ask for questions, and then I'm going to dive in onto what the purposes are of some of the different types of pages that we have on our sites. So any questions? Yes, sir.
It might be not related to this particular part, but I've asked you a few times about the sitemap module, and I just wondered what's up.
The XML sitemap module, I assume you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because there is a sitemap module
Well, the
that works
sitemap,
okay.
I know there's a 1.0 that was released, but what's your opinion on how heavy that weighs on good SEO?
Specifically the XML sitemap module?
Yeah.
Okay, so the XML sitemap module is probably the thorn in the SEO side of Drupal. And being the Drupal SEO company, I decided we're going to do something about that. And it turns out there was already a guy who was working on it's not a branch, but it's like a 2.0 version of the XML sitemap module. His name escapes my memory right off the top of my head. And this is videotaped in it. But in any case, so we ponied up and we gave him some cash and said, could you hurry this along? And he assures me that he's going to have at least a working beta of a complete rewrite of the XML sitemap module by the end of June. And I have a whole chapter in my book that covers sitemaps, and half that chapter is on XML sitemaps. And I would really, really love to rewrite that chapter before we go to press. And so I'm incentivizing him as much as I can to get that module rewritten. The original XML sitemap module, it just got big, and it makes a lot of sense for small websites, and it works okay for small websites, but for big websites, it breaks the server. It's just too intense of server load. So it needed to be done, and I'm happy to do that. In fact, if you know of any other modules that need a little hand-holding that are somehow related to SEO or conversions or what you're working on, let me know. And I'm putting some money into making Drupal a better platform for SEO. So contact me. My info's here. So send me an email and make your recommendations. I'll be happy to help out any way we can. Was there another hand on this side of the room? I guess not. Well, if you think of it, shout it out. Okay, homepage design. So the purpose of your homepage is not to sell to the people who are visiting your site. The purpose is to get them to not leave your site. Okay? This is a concept that's very difficult to get across to clients. So, well, I want them to come to my front page of my site and I want them to buy stuff. And it doesn't work that way. It's like going on a first date and asking the girl to marry you. It doesn't go so well. You gotta, hello? You gotta date a little while before you can get married. All right, thanks.
While the technical,
I feel like I'm whispering, but okay.
It's Dave Reed.
Dave Reed, yes, awesome.
Because I knew about this too, and it was bothering me that I missed.
Dave, you rock, dude. You rock. All right, and all right, is this better?
Yeah.
Behind the floor.
All right. Okay. So your job on the homepage of the site is to convince people not to leave, and if clients give you pushback on that, then take them to the biggest retailer on the planet who does a website, which is who?
Amazon.
Amazon.com. Go to the front page of Amazon. Do you see any buy now buttons? Do you see any add to cart buttons on the front page of the site? What do you see? You see a lot of categories. If you're logged in, you'll see recommendations for you. It's a lot of, hey, we're happy you're here. Come explore. We're your friend. That's the kind of messaging that you get on the front page of the most successful retail store on the internet. Excuse me. Okay, the key metric on your front page is your bounce rate. Who can tell me what a bounce rate is?
It's how many people leave your front page before they even click any other.
Very good. Very good. That's right. So what he said was, it's if somebody comes into your site and they look at one page of your site and then they leave. So they came in and then they take off. Okay. I often see websites with 50, 60, 70% bounce rates. That's not unusual to see a website with a bounce rate that high. We need to get it down to the 30% range. Is pretty good for most sites. Different industries are different, but you can't have a super high bounce rate because all your customers are taken off. Remember the little guys running across the screen? That's what happens to most companies. So lots of people come in and they all just leave because the site's not sticky. Sticky, you're familiar with the term sticky? This is from Web Design 101. Okay, questions. These are the questions that somebody visiting your website has. Is this what I expected to see? I clicked on a link somewhere, I found you in Google, and I came to your site. Am I in the right place? Does this look credible? Do these guys look trustworthy? Are there, little bitty things turn people off? Are there misspellings on the page? Is everything centered? These are design things. These are things that you guys are the best on the planet at building Drupal websites that are well designed. And when people come in the door, they're asking, is this page been well designed? Is what this question is about. What does this company do? There are many sites out there that you go to the website and you've got to read for 30 seconds before you realize, oh, here's what this company does. There's a concept called a signpost. It's been around for a couple of millennia now, and it's just a sign that says, here's where you are. And if you go to a website and the company name and none of the offerings on the page really tell you what this company does, you need to put something big at the top of the site that says, we sell mortgages, refinance your home. Something big and bold and in their face that tells them, here's what we do. Okay? And then the next question that they have is now that I'm here and this, yes, I'm happy where I am, what can I do? What are the next actions can I take? Okay, so the visitor must find the answer to these two questions on your front page. What if I want to learn more? And what if I want to contact the company? So some people, they get to the front page and they are ready to move ahead. You've got to give them an opportunity to do that. Don't force them to dig for more information if they're ready to buy. But most people, they're going to come in and go, I want to click around a little bit more. Oh, here's some good information or whatever. So these are the key points. Category pages. So category pages, the purpose is to narrow options. One of the cool things about a category page is when you click on a category, all the extraneous stuff that doesn't matter to you drops away. And all that you're left with are really terrific list of products and services that you're interested in. So back to, we were talking about the tags and taxonomies. When you click on one of those, that takes you to what's basically a category page. And all of the content that's unrelated to that particular category has dropped away from the site, and all I'm left with is stuff that I like and I'm interested in. Okay? I narrowed my options, and then I'm going to make a selection. If it's an e-commerce site, I'm going to pick a product to buy. If it's maybe a lead generation site, like a mortgage site or something, they're going to decide, what are my next steps going to be from this page. Okay? The key metric on a category page are click-throughs and add to carts. Okay? If they get to a category page and they leave, that's bad. If they click through to something else, that's good. If they add to the cart, even better. Okay? And incidentally, these are all stuff that's straight out of Web Design for ROI. Fantastic book. I really highly recommend it. And no, I didn't write it. I don't get any royalties or anything. Visitor questions on category pages. Did I pick the right category? It's a good question, right? How are these items sorted? Can I change them? Can I sort them in a different way? Because I need to see the price first, or I need to see alphabetical order because I know exactly what I'm looking for. Are there more items in this category than just the ones that I can see? And how do I get to those other items? Right? I see something that I want. Now what do I do? Can I buy it right now? Or do I have to go through steps? Is there a form to fill out? What do I do if I'm ready to go? These are the questions that people have on category pages. Your visitors must be able to sort quickly and find what they want and then buy it. If you go to your category pages, and I've listed 5 questions here. I think I had 4 on the home page. In the book, there are, I think, 60 or 70 for each type of page. It just focuses you in so well on here's what this page needs to do. So take the time to go and take a look at that book. Let's look at one more, detail pages. Okay? The purpose of a detail page is to help visitors examine the offering more closely and answer questions about that particular product. Okay, so they went first to the home page, and they went to the category page, and then they ended up on a detail page. They have specific questions about that product. What color is it? How can I configure it? What sizes do you have? How quickly can I get it delivered? What's the return policy? Things like this. These are the questions that they have. And the key metric are add to cart and sales. So if you get to a product page, somebody's very interested. They may have come in directly to that page. That's possible because in SEO, you'll SEO an individual page. But if you get a really high add to cart on that page, you know you've done a great job of communicating that information to that potential customer. The visitor questions on a detail page. Is this what I expected to see? I clicked on a thumbnail. If it took me to something that's different, or it's not exactly what I was looking for, that's not good. But assuming that it is, what does it look like? Can I get a blown up picture of it? What does the packaging look like? What are the main features and benefits of this product? How can I examine it more closely? Do you have one of those little spinning around things, or do you have Amazon's got user pictures now? That's pretty cool. So people can take pictures of their stuff and put it online. How does it work? What does it do? What are my options? How do they look? Can I buy it? Can I afford it? Can I finance it? Do you have it in stock? Visitor must be able to examine the item, get the answers, buy it, and if they don't do any of those things, they need to find alternatives.
Nice.
Question?
I feel like a lot of this is geared to sales. I do a lot of energy websites, and it's about bringing people and communicating information and building communities. And I feel like what's fundamentally going on the web is building communities through Facebook, through all those different things. So the idea that the punchline is sales as opposed to building communities and building something else, I'm not sure if that takes your conversation in a different direction, or...
It does and it doesn't. I'm using sales here because it's easy to talk about sales and everybody understands because we all shop, right? Conversions is not about necessarily selling something. It's about getting somebody to do what you want them to do. So when you build a community, when somebody signs up for Facebook, they go through a very similar process as when they check out at Amazon, right? They go in, they look around Facebook, their friend is there, they got an email and invited them in, and then they said, oh, you want to join? There's all these cool things here. Click here, you can create your account. Well, this is the checkout process, right? That's exactly what it is. You click on the thing, and you go in, and there's a form. Guess what they want? They want your name, and your address, and your phone number, and your date of birth, and all these random things that Facebook asks you for. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. Now they want your custom alias that you want, you know. But you go through and you create this, and then you click the save button, and guess what? You just checked out. It's exactly the same, and these same things apply. If I go back and I look on, let's go back to the, let's leave it here. I get into Facebook, I get into my friend's page. Is this what I expected to see? Do I see pictures of my friend and information about my friend? Do I see that there's an interaction here? Is this a fun place? What does this look like? Can I get one? Can I customize it to myself? How much does it cost? Well, Facebook is enormously popular because it's free. And you get invited by your friends, your closest friends, to tell you, hey, come in here and do this. It's a wonderful, social networking is amazing. But the messaging that you give on a social networking site is very similar to get people to do what you want them to do. If you ignore the checkout process, even when there's no money changing hands, guess what? People will bail. And they'll go somewhere else just because they, I want to do it, but it just doesn't seem credible to me. It doesn't seem trustworthy. Same questions, exact same questions. Okay, they do cover more stuff in that book, things like e-commerce checkout. We talked about that. Sorry. Okay, forms. There's the exact same thing. Any page that's a form on it, which includes some checkout pages, but say you just want to gather information, you're building your house list, your email list or whatever, and there's a form. It's a very similar questions. How's this data going to be used? What if I don't want to give that to you? Which of these fields do I have to fill out? What's going to happen after I click OK? Am I going to get a confirmation on this? These are very similar questions. Different, but very similar that when you go, okay, here's the form page and I'm designing this. Go through the list of questions and make sure that your customers, your visitors are going to feel very at ease when they're filling out this form. Landing pages. So you may know what a landing page is for landing pages before? What's a landing page?
Usually get to it from the home page, so the product section page.
Very good. Landing page is any page that, in my context in SEO, it's any page that's the first thing somebody sees when they come to the site. So in Google, a lot of times the landing page is the home page, it's the front page, it's the most important landing page. But if you are in Google and there's a secondary page, or you search for a particular term that's like a product and you come into the product page, the product page is actually a landing page. Then you can also create landing pages that are very specific for, say you're running a Google ad campaign or you're doing some SEO on a particular keyword, like we talked about with your blog situation. You can put in create a specific landing page that gets people to do the things you want them to do when they hit that page. Because you know I'm spending some money and I'm driving a bunch of traffic to this one page. Here are the things that I want them to do when they're here. Very similar to the home page. Some things are different because obviously it's an informational page about a product or a service, generally speaking, not about who the company is. So they have questions about the company and how do I find out more information about the company. Anyway, check it out. There's more stuff there. More modules. Everybody else wants to know more modules that they can get. So there's half a dozen more modules you can try. They do different things. The notify module is really great if you're building a community. Every time somebody enters a comment or creates a piece of content, you get an email, and then you can moderate those comments and get rid of the spam and reply to people when they ask questions, things like that. I find it invaluable. The views module. Anybody heard of that one? Not really obscure, but okay. Views module is great for creating the silos, and I already talked about the new XML sitemap. You give it a few more weeks. You asked me a question about whether it really affected SEO much. I find that it does. If there are pages of your site that are not showing up in Google, a sitemap is invaluable. I've had clients that all we did was install a sitemap. He had 50,000 products on his website as a distributor of lab equipment, and maybe he had 4,000 or 5,000 pages showing up in Google. There's a concept here called Google Webmaster Tools. If you don't know what that is, go find out what it is and sign up for it and get it installed on your site. It's a phenomenal tool. Google Webmaster Tools said he had 4,000 or 5,000 pages. We knew he had 50. We created a series of sitemaps, not using the XML sitemap module. And we uploaded those to Google Webmaster Tools, and suddenly his traffic, it doubled the next month, and it doubled again the month after that, simply because all of his products were now showing up in the search engines. They didn't rank particularly well, but when you have 50,000 different products, there are people searching all of them down that product list. So I think it helps, especially if it's a huge site. For a typical corporate site that has 100 pages or something like that, go ahead and do it if it's easy. And it's not going to bring your site down, yeah, absolutely, go ahead and do it. But it's not the end of the world.
Are you using 2.0 now?
I am not. I'm waiting. Just going to wait. I'm waiting. For the clients that needed XML sitemaps, we did roll our own non-Drupal solution using a in-house spider that we point at the site and crawled the whole thing and broke the sitemap. So you can buy them, tools like that. Open Calais. Have you guys seen Calais or heard of Calais? Calais is this really cool thing. When you create a piece of content, it sends it out to Reuters. Reuters takes it, breaks it down, like if there are people or events or dates or things mentioned to it, they break it down and then they give you back taxonomy terms, and that creates the taxonomies in your site. So very, very quickly, all your content gets tagged. Well, if you have a site where you have a lot of people contributing content and you need it to be all organized, or say you have a site that nobody's tagged anything, there are no taxonomies on your site, and you have 5,000 pages, well, I mean, it's tedious to sit there and go through them all. You can just batch send them all out to this Reuters free Open Calais service. They'll give you back those tags, and suddenly your site has this architecture that you can now create the silos and the different things that make it much, much more usable. If that sounds interesting, you should look into that. I do have a chapter in the book that's coming out on how to install Open Calais and use it for SEO. Apache Solar. We've all heard of Apache Solar, right? I'm seeing some nods. Is there a no? One no is all I need. Is that a no? All right. Apache Solar is a tool that indexes the content of your site and makes it much better and easier to search than the built-in Drupal search tool. So basically, it replaces the search core of Drupal, but you have the same search interface, the same search box. You don't have to replace that. But when you do a search, it's much, much better results. Apache Solar is a service that's offered by, you can install it, but it uses a lot of server resources. And if you're in a hosted environment, they may not let you install it because it's a Java tool. But Acquia has a part of their base service, which incidentally is $200 a month right now, and next month it's going to $400. If you're thinking about signing up for Acquia, now's the time to go do it. $200 a year. I'm sorry, I said a month. I meant a year. $200 a year, less than the cost of hosting. You get fantastic support from the Acquia team, and you get Apache Solar on your site. So it's a great tool. And then Mollum, which is to help you fight spam. And that's good. Tools. I got to fast forward because we're almost out of time, but quickly.
Well, I'll catch you afterward.
It's probably interesting to everybody. What is it?
Well, I was just hoping you could talk a little bit more about the silos. You said something very quickly about it. So if I want to make more...
It's just a way of organizing your site so that you have sections of it that are all related to a particular topic. And maybe you're, like we're talking about the medical supplies thing over here, well, you create a silo for the different products. Like a product page could be like a silo or a start of a silo. Then maybe you have some blog posts about that particular product. You have this little sections area, this hierarchy on your site that Google as well. I should send people there if they're interested in needles or wheelchairs or whatever it is. So there's a lot more to it than that, but you know the word now, silos. You can Google it. Silos for SEO, and there's lots of content out there about it. I'm going to run through these quickly. Google Analytics. I mentioned the Google Webmaster Tools. SEO browser, SEO-browser.com. If you go there and you put in the URL of your website, it will spit out what Google sees. So it's really cool. It strips out all the graphics, strips out all the CSS, and it just shows you all the text that Google actually sees. So if you ever wondered on your site what Google's seeing, then that's a tool that you can use. And then Crazy Egg, which is like it's like a click tracking package that shows you a very visual map of what people are doing when they're on your site. So what if I do all that and my client is still not making money on their website? So now it's time for my 30-second commercial. I'm going to talk about Veloci, so I apologize in advance, but this is what pays the bills and gets me to be able to come out to events like this. So bear with me. If you do all that stuff and your clients are still not making money on their websites, whatever the issue is, we have a partner program. It's for, this is our partner website, and our partner program is for Drupal designers, developers, and programmers. And what we will do is we will help you when you refer clients to us. We will give you drop-ins for your proposals, and we'll write custom proposals for your clients if they need them. We'll help you on sales calls. You can call us in. We will talk to the clients about SEO, help them understand the need for it. We will give back to you a 5 to 10% referral fee for 1 year. So any money they spend with us for the course of a year, you're going to get some revenue from that. Okay? Well, revenue sharing. You get up to 50% off of SEO that you want for your own site. So if you want to get more customers in your area, if you've carved out a niche, we'll help you do that at a deeply discounted rate for our Drupal partners. And then we also have an awesome newsletter that we send out monthly, and we give away free stuff all the time to our partners. So we do have a partner program. You can go to partner.malachi.com, and that's where you kind of get started there. There's a form you can fill out and refer people to us, and make sure you put your name and your company name in there. And just by filling out that form, you're part of the partner program. So it's really, really easy. Thank you. That was the commercial. And if there are any more questions, I think we have to vacate the room.
Yeah.
But I will just come right out there in that little dining area there, and we can just talk.
And before you guys leave, I just want to mention a really quick schedule change because we're about 15 minutes off. There's a 2 o'clock accelerated grid theming 960 talk. It sounds like it's going to be really popular. We're moving it to 123, the big room, so everybody can go in there. And the evaluating user experience, we're moving to 4 o'clock. So at 2:15 actually, that one talk's going to be in 123. We're trying to tell everybody. So if you can get everybody to meet after lunch 2:15, that would be great. So thanks.
All right, thanks.